So I raced down the hallway. I raced. I ran into my classroom and I jumped. I literally jumped up on the desk. I mean, for real. I jumped up there and went, this is going to be a great day. And then I said, our mantra for the year is character, the ability to persist against constant opposition, the ability to choose courage over comfort, to do the right thing instead of the easy thing. I said character is believing that life is happening not to us, but for us. And then all of a sudden, it happened for me. Jim, come quick. Jody and the kids have been in a car accident. And that knock would change my life forever. There are 3 doorway encounters, 3 types of knocks, and you know them. There are taps, subtle little messages. They're sometimes thought of as whispers that come from the universe. They're inviting you to close the gap from who you are to who you might become. They're nudging you out of your comfort zone into the courage zone. They're asking you, will you play safe or go for it? You know these taps. Then there are the hard knocks. The knocks that knock you to your knees, they knock you out of the world that you planned. And the world now is waiting for you in this next level. This is not an invitation, it's an initiation into a new life. You've been there. You have now graduated or upgraded from life athlete to tenacious spiritual warrior. The third tap or third encounter are called touches. When your doorway is touched by soulmates, by angels, by people of love that come into your life just at the right time when you need them. They seem like coincidences, but they're not. They've come from the universe. Now, these are just 3 doorway encounters. They mean nothing because what you do with them means everything. If your door is open, you'll receive them. A farmer owned a white horse. One night, the farmer was sleeping. There was a giant storm, and he woke up the next morning. The corral door had blown open. The white horse had run away. All the townspeople heard the news. They raced over and said, "We're so sorry about your bad luck." But the farmer paused, looked at the townspeople, and said, "Bad luck, good luck. We shall see." 3 days later, there was another storm in the middle of the night. The farmer woke up, the corral door had blown open, and the white horse had run back in with 4 wild horses chasing it. He had 5 horses now. All the townspeople came over and said, "We're so happy about your good news." But the farmer, he said, "Good news, bad news. We shall see." 3 days later, the farmer's son is out trying to train one of the wild horses, and he's bucked off and breaks both of his legs. Townspeople race over and say, "We're so sorry about your bad luck." The farmer, bad luck, good luck. We'll see. And then 7 days later, the country goes to war. They send over all the militia to gather up all the able-bodied young men, and they find the boy with 2 broken legs, and they can't take him. The townspeople come over and say, "We're so happy about your good luck." The farmer says, "Good luck, bad luck. We shall see." The farmer is a little bit different than the townspeople. You see, the townspeople believe that events equal the outcome of your life. But the farmer knows different, as do you. The events in your life mean nothing because what you do with them, your response, that dictates the outcome. And that's on you. Events plus response equal outcome. I'm a coach, Coach Jim Stroker from Ridgewood, New Jersey. I spent my lifetime, 38 years coaching, and dreaming of coaching a Super Bowl, a Final Four, a seventh game of the World Series, until one day, bang, that knock on the door came, and I got a chance to coach a game bigger than any game, a game of life or death for my children. It was 5:10 a.m. My wife and I were holding the hands tightly of our children. But we were not in our home. We were not in our house. We were not in our bed. We were in the ICU unit of the hospital. My son, 4 years old, was in an induced comatose state. He had a traumatic brain injury during that accident. My daughter is on the other side. She was paralyzed from the chest down, currently suffering from pneumonia. We were holding their hands tight. The worst nightmare you could ever believe. When all of a sudden, another knock on the door. The nurses came and said, "You've got to leave now. You've got to leave. The doctors are doing early rounds." And we looked at them, and a flashback came into my mind of 28 years earlier, that same knock on my door. In the middle of the night, I was 9 years old, and a nurse came and said, "You've got to leave. The doctors are coming in to take care of your dad. He's sick." And I never saw my dad again. He was 48 years old. I was 9. So when those doctors came in, we said, "We will not leave." And 7 minutes later, we were ushered out by 8 security guards. And we got into the hallway, and I said to my wife, "I just don't know how we're going to do this. I just don't know how." And for some reason, there was a tap on my shoulder saying, "Go to the car, take a ride." And I got in the car, and suddenly another tap occurred. "Dial this number, 973-743-4690. And I did. And I called my guru, a teacher, Dr. Rob Gilbert, who done a pre-recorded hotline that morning for over 60,000 people. But I knew it was for me. He went on to say there was a circus in the 1930s, the Barnum and Bailey Circus. But there was a sideshow that was gaining the main attention. And the sideshow was called The World's Strongest Man. He'd do 4 feats of strength and then challenge his audience. The strong man walks out, rips phone books over his head, takes a railroad tie, crashes it over his thigh, then takes a nail, puts it between his teeth, boom, and bites it in half. And then he says, "Bring out the suitcase, bring the lemon out, and bring the glass." And his assistant walks out, puts a suitcase on the table. He takes the lemon, holds it over the glass, and starts to squeeze. And with those bone dry, he squeezes it. With that vice grip, he has every juice of lemon out of that. And then says, "Open up that suitcase." She flips it open, and there's hundreds, $500 bills stacked, and a little sign that says $20,000. He says, "That's my life savings. If anyone here can squeeze 1 drop of lemon juice out of that lemon, that's yours." Hundreds and thousands of people had come up to try to do it. No one could do it. But on that day, in the back row, a woman with gray hair and a frail body stood up with her walker and said, "I can do that." Everyone's head went around in a swivel. They saw this elderly woman proclaiming that she could do something no one had done, and they started to laugh. And as they laughed, she moved forward. And the laughter grew to howling, but it didn't deter the woman. She kept moving forward and forward and forward, all the way up to that suitcase. And when she got there, she stopped. And then she reached into her blouse and pulled out a locket. And she gazed at that locket, put that locket back into her blouse, took her walker, walked up to that lemon, held that lemon like everyone else did, held it over the glass, and started to squeeze and struggle and fight and fight. And then all of a sudden, this alchemy, this magic occurred. She took her other hand up stopped squeezing so hard, and then said the words, Amor Fati. And then, bang, the magic. Not one drop, but 2 drops of lemon juice came from the lemon. And the strong man stood there shocked and stunned and said, how did you do that? She reached in her blouse, pulled out the locket and said, sir, this is my grandson. He's 9 years old. He will die at the end of the week without an operation. The operation costs $20,000. Sir, if there's a big enough reason why, you will always find the how. And then the strong man said, Amor Fati? And she said, yes, the love of fate. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. When you embrace your challenge, that is when the magic will come. I was in my car. The entire weight of the world came off my shoulders. I knew we had a big enough reason why. Because if the why is about people you love, if the why is built on others, then there'll be divine intervention to help you move forward. The how will unfold. And Amor Fati means embrace it. There are 3 belts in life martial arts. There's a white belt. When a white belt faces a challenge or a crisis, they curse it. They say, why me? They become a victim. That's normal behavior. And then there are the red belts. The red belts accept. In yoga, we say surrender into the pose. This is where you are, you're old, you've lost your hair, accept the fact that this is what you have. And you surrender, no longer fight. But the black belts, they embrace the challenge as if it's supposed to happen for them, not to them. And they take it and flip it upside down. We drove back to that hospital, walked into that hospital room, and 7 days later, my son would come out of the coma. He'd come out with the use of one arm and cognitive challenges and a bruised body. And the doctor said, we're so sorry about your bad luck here. My 2-year-old daughter was fitted for her first wheelchair and given a myriad of different physical challenges she would face in her life. And the doctors said, we're so sorry about your bad luck. But those 2 warriors looked up and said, bad luck, good luck. We shall see. We came out of that hospital and played Amor Fati offense. Amor Fati offense is offense, not defense. We didn't focus on the defense. The defense is what you can't do. The defense is what's out of your control. The defense are the obstacles. The defense are the problems. The defense are all the barriers you face. But the offense is what's in your control, what you can do. It's not an obstacle. What are the opportunities? What are the possibilities? And it's complete mindset shift. A perception of your lens, because it's all about perception. And when you look at challenges as if they're for you, not to you, amazing things can happen. Allie, age 2, could never run, jump, or skip. Jake, with one arm, was told you cannot go to public school. You will not have the mental capacity to do that. Jake was let into that doorway. He got a peek in. 2,340 days later. 2,340 days later. That's how many days there are from kindergarten to 12th grade. He did not miss one day. Not one day. You see, E does not equal O. E plus R equal O. And when you have willpower and fortitude and courage, you might just do things that are called impossible. Jake graduated from high school and then went on to Fairleigh Dickinson University to honor there. And then in Whole Foods, there are about 99.3% of the employees have 2 arms. One of them had one. He was the employee of the year at Whole Foods and now works in administration at a district of school, a school that takes care of children with multiple disabilities. He works there in administration as a role model for every kid who's ever had a traumatic brain injury, for every kid who was told you can't make it through public school. He is that representative. Allie never did run. Instead, she flew.
This award is for every kid who is watching tonight who has a disability, who has a limitation or a challenge, who has been waiting to see themselves represented in this arena. You are Mom and Dad. Thank you for teaching me to use my gifts to help people. I love you. We did it.
In the year 2015, there had been 267 years of Broadway without ever a wheelchair-bound actor or actress. She was the first. In the year 2019, she was the first to win a Tony Award. E does not equal O. E plus R equal O. Allie said it. For every kid that's watching tonight that needs an emblem or a role model, that needs a belief that you can do it, that's who she was. I ask you to finish up with one thing, and that is, think about the challenges you've had in the past. Think about the challenge you may have said were bad luck. And maybe, just maybe, you'll look at them now and say, you know what? That's the way I got stronger. That's where I gained my willpower, my character, my creativity. That's where it came. So the next time something difficult comes, I ask you to use 7 words. The next time anything happens that sends you south, 7 words. Because of this, something good will happen. And then wait and find the magic. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.